Hello, my name is FRANCESFOX, and I'm a trained remote viewer, and now my psychic skills have been trained as I was in a secret government program. And I put on my bio that I'm a psychic spy. I was trained as a psychic spy, and I am a psychic spy today. But what I spy on are your organs, the evolution of your soul, um, and what's going on in the other dimensions associated with you. So here we are. And what we're going to talk about today, in addition to doing mantras in order for you to reduce your stress, we're going to talk about what's going on with the third eye. That in my sketches, the third eye is coming out extremely prominent and blue. And the information that the dolphins gave us a couple of days ago was that around the 13th, our third eye was completely expanded. And that happens to humans when there is a major emergency. Let's see if I can get the exact quote quickly. Give me a second and excuse, and I'll read it. No, it's not here. Okay. So around the 13th, our third eye was opened dramatically to where I never sketched it, and all of a sudden I started to sketch it. And it was done because of the state of emergencies we're in now. The third eye is where human superpowers are. Isn't that interesting? So it's going to get really, really interesting. I don't know how. I have to assume the younger people are going to handle the superpowers more easily. But that takes us to, how do you feel about the third eye? Because from what I can see in terms of the public that I have to deal with here on X and in other places that is not Hispanic, there's tremendous suspicion for the symbol, any symbol that is for the third eye. It's viewed with suspicion. The third eye is on the dollar bill. The third eye is where your wisdom is, memory, past, present, future. It's very powerful. And as I show all of the time, Jesus Christ tried to leave us a message about the third eye. We got to get it figured out now that the third eye is going to be so dominating of our energy system. So the eye that's on the dollar would indicate the all-seeing wisdom brought to our money. What's the problem with that? And it's in a triangle, which represents the three lower energy centers all human beings have that relate to our physicality. Not spirituality, but physicality. What's the matter with that? Nothing's the matter with that. The fact that you don't have enough information, and that perhaps people that use the third eye a lot, or too many of them, I don't think it's too many of them, because mothers use their third eye a lot, having to do with making sure their children are safe. And people that have lived in a lot of danger, have been very abused, they use their third eye a lot. And we have no reason to not trust them. What's my point? And then we'll get on to the next thing. My point is that you need to get this figured out, because the third eye is not going to be just the all-seeing eye. It's going to be everything to us. I went ahead and I sketched right before this chat started. Kind of neat. The mind strings are green, color of the heart chakra. And there you go with your third eye. Lots of changes in the other dimensions, which makes me very insecure. So I'll talk about another thing that I don't know how to talk about and that hasn't been upended in the last 3 or 4 days. The phrase in Star Wars, "May the Force be with you." You need to understand that. So I'm going to see if I can find the graphic that I had made. Nope. This thing with needing glasses all the time and doing things when you don't have your glasses on is not a good idea. You have an energy system, and you have several energy bodies called envelopes of consciousness, They're also called vehicles that you drive on the different dimensions. The part of you that's on the astral dimensions doesn't use this vehicle, this body, this envelope of consciousness to do business on the astral dimension. You have an astral spirit body for those dimensions. Now, the astral body is the only one that operates in at least 7 dimensions. All the other bodies, well, that's not true. The mind streams are multidimensional. Physical body, only the physical dimension. The causal body, only causal dimension. So what's the point? The point of the matter is that your astral spirit body, which most people call your astral body, and I know that it's your spirit, so astral spirit body, is the one that they're referring to in the phrase, may the force be with you. Oh my God, I can show you this. So sorry. In this graphic, the gold body is your astral spirit body. It's your spirit. But a lot of times it's not aligned with your physical body, which is all the way at the left, which means it's also not aligned with the next body, which is the grid, which is your etheric body. So when your spirit is not inside your physical body, you're not strong. What's the problem? We disassociate severely, and disassociation is when your spirit is not perfectly aligned with your physical body. Your spirit uses the physical body like an envelope that it goes into. But a lot of times it pops out, like at night with astral travel, when you have a near-death experience, when you're very disassociated, you're very angry, or you just kind of lose it, your spirit separates. You can also have many astral bodies, which they used to call multiple personalities. All autistic kids have several astral bodies. If you are a heavy drinker, you have a big problem with violence, whatever, you have more than one astral body. But the point of the matter is that that spirit is what they're referring to when they say, may the force be with you. And that spirit is composed of emotional particles. So the people that have not dealt with their emotional issues, such as from a trauma from their childhood, they have the tendency of the separation. That memory ends up being in their spirit and it's separated because it's too painful. And then you cannot have the strength that you would have if you were aligned with your spirit. Very important today, because if that separation is big enough, that's where the galactic negative spirits come in, the ones that are going to create the next problem we're going to deal with, which people, and that's the whole 5,000 years. So I have an article that the dolphins gave me on end times, and it's a Mayan ritual for getting together with similar people once a week, telling each other honestly your troubles, and then looking into each other's eyes and repeating a particular mantra, whatever. When the dolphins gave me that information, the first paragraph was about zombies and cannibals. And then it talks about this lovely get together in which you share your miseries. And I was like, no, 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 no. What happened to them, the dolphins? What happened to them? Took it out. Well, I'm going to have to put it back in, because that ritual of getting together and sharing the negative stuff is what's going to prevent the zombies, which means you actually accept that you have negativity, that something bad happened. You're conscious of it, you're aware of it, you're dealing with it. Many people today are acting out their rages in the wrong places, like in war. If you look at the movie Star Wars, and this is really important to wrap yourself around, it's not so easy. The movie Star Wars, the entire universe almost went to the dark side because Darth Vader never did therapy having to do with the loss of his mother. His mother died when he was a child. Then he got married or had a woman, whatever, and she got sick. I don't know if she died, but at that point, Darth Vader negotiated with the darkness, turned himself over in order to save this woman he loved, which was just it was a pattern that kicked in having to do with the loss of his mother. Emotions. And then at the end of the last Star Wars movie that I saw, and I think there were a couple after that, the last part of the movie is him, Darth Vader, inside this ocean of lava, which is fire element, has to do with repressed rage. Darth Vader was angry about what happened to him as a child. So now we have war today on the planet, which started 3.5 days ago. We don't know. It's not, hey, we did it. We did what we were going to do. We're going back home. We don't know what's going on. It does feel like one side doesn't really want to have war and the other side is itching for it, but who knows? Because we don't know whether the news is accurate or not. But the point of the matter is that if everybody who's going to war had done their therapy, spiritual therapy, they wouldn't have spirits attached. They wouldn't have congestions of rage that give them the fuel for going to war. And then we have the fact that the planet, for whatever reason, I'm not getting into the global warming thing. I'm not that dumb. I'm not going to talk about that. There's an excess of the fire element. That I know. I'll stand up and you can beat me up about that. I know that's accurate because that is what has everybody so frustrated, so angry, so wiped out, so tired, so angry at everybody else, so anxious, so much insomnia, so much suicide. That's excess fire. If all of this stuff had been taken care of, which are basics, the balance of the elements, the fact that human beings are very emotional and they react emotionally. And when they have a trauma, they tend to hold it in order not to bother anybody else, in order not to remember. And that ends up becoming the fuel for activities and decisions that would have never been made if those things had been taken care of. That is why on this get together, which was supposed to be just about world peace, we ended up having to deal with our depression because it wasn't working to do the mantra for world peace. And it's not working to do anything for world peace if inside of you, you have a lot of violence. And now I'm going to express an opinion that may get me into a lot of trouble. I think that a lot of the people that are, and I was one of them, so these goody two-shoe people, and let's help everybody, and everybody should be able to have everything, etc. That's great, except there's some place where that has not, where the opposite of that has not been dealt with in the people. It's like so many therapists that came to me in the 90s when I first came out and said that I had been trained as a psychic spy, etc. And the therapist would come to me for sessions, and then I'd say, "Okay, you're angry at your father," and they'd go, "Oh no, Francis, I already took care of that." I would go, "Well, actually, it's what's blocking you." No, I went to therapy for 10 years. I talked about the thing with my dad. I'm fine. I accepted it. And I went, you did a lot of talking, but you did not purify it out of your mind. The congestion is still there. And those rages you go into have to do with a rage you accumulated against your father, who, by the way, you love a lot. So the fact that you can hate somebody doesn't mean you can't love them. As a matter of fact, that statement that you can't really hate somebody unless you love them, or at least not as much, totally accurate. So we're at a time in which we have not dealt with our emotions. It's caught up with us. That and many other things. The point of the matter is we need to reduce our emotions because we need to take care of ourselves because we cannot take care of the world out there. It already is out of control, and that was the messages the dolphins gave us 2 weeks ago. Take care of yourself. You did what you could. Now you need to take care of yourself and your family and your life. Create your reality. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm not just doing the peace mantra. I am doing the other thing that's happening at the same time of the wars, which is the ascension process. I don't know what the ascension process is. I know it has to do with a disconnect from the physical reality on planet Earth. But I'm not sure if it's a total disconnect. And my suggestion to everybody is that you start looking up the civilization that was apparently parallel to Atlantis, and it's called Lemuria, Lemuria. I think we might, when they talk about the new Earth, I think that we might be going to a similar situation as that. And what is that? Our spirit is much more important than a physical body. Yes, we take care of the physical body, but that is not what's important. And that actually is what should have been happening until now, but it hasn't been. So we end up with this mess. So let's go ahead and start the process of healing, self-correcting, and all the rest of that so that we are able to keep our focus on our intentions. Don't let go of any of your intentions just because there's a war going on. As I've said before, we, for the first time in history, have the ability to create a totally separate reality from everybody else. I am actually, I was sketching people in bubbles here. There's a sacred place in Miami called the Miami Circle. When I go there, I can see the people in those bubbles. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on, but it's not a bad thing. We don't know everything that's going on at all. We would like more information. We're getting as much as we can from the dolphins. And let's start. Where are you at from 1 to 10 in terms of well-being? 1 is you want to slit your wrist. 10 is you feel like $1 million. Then let's go ahead and look at the gold and white dress and pay attention. How gold does it look? How bright and shiny is it? Or is it blue and bronze? At which time your vibration is a bit low and the golden age that's already coming in may pass you by because you couldn't see it. The same way you can't see that dress in white and gold. So we're going to do this mantra. If you'll excuse me, darn, I should have had it up here already and I don't. I told somebody that I would ask about this today. When I got up in the morning today, I had the most unusual experiences on my computer. Things kept jumping around, documents kept closing, or they would move the order they were in. It was really weird. And somebody else that I talked to said that they had a very difficult time. Also, I don't know if anybody else did, but if you did this morning, if you noticed something different, and I was remembering my friend that I used to send everybody for spirit release therapy. Just a second. She had said in the 90s that spirits were getting into computers, and I know that that's accurate. But this morning it was almost like beyond that. So here's the mantra, and this is the mantra we recommend anytime you're really out of sorts. It is the mantra that helped us when the plague was a problem a couple years ago. It appeared to have protected us. And I'm looking at the title of this session. It's War and Ascension. Those two things are happening at the same time. And in terms of the ascension process, if you can vibe high enough, this thing with the war is not going to have an effect on you. And I'm not sure that the war wasn't started to stop people from ascending. We'll know that in retrospect. Okay, okay. So here's the mantra, and let me put the music on. And we're still going with the solar plexus, which is the music for the part of you that holds your personal power. So let's go ahead and go. Let's do 10. This is how we started, which is the best I've ever sketched for anybody. Here's where we are now. All these are blue and green bubbles. I think that we are pulling away from physicality. And I think we're getting much stronger in the upper part of us and the spiritual part. I also put the word lift off. I don't like it when I have to put stuff that I kind of puts me out there, but that's what I get. So what we're going to do is, instead of doing the peace mantra, being it that the third eye is so important, why don't we go ahead and work on that? Work on augmenting your abilities. Oh dear. Excuse me a second. I'm trying to. And this is what the dolphin said about the third eye. The third eye has the ability to save you from danger and is activated by extreme danger. The earth is in extreme danger, and the third eye was activated 3 days ago. For additional information, it was activated 3 days ago for additional information, as it will help to keep you grounded. So let's go ahead and work on the third eye. So here's the mantra. which you also repeat in silence, even though I'm afraid to see, I love and accept myself. Most people, if their third eye is not real open, it's because they don't want to see the truth of their life, or something happened when they were young, or a lot of things happened when they were young, and they don't really want to remember them or see them. Third eye is a lot about memory. A lot of what we have to deal with, issues of the third eye, has to do with memory. So this is the mantra. I have it sketched here. We just sketched you. I'm going to sketch you in the middle of it. It's the same thing. You repeat it in silence. You expel the breath through your mouth. Take the breath internally and with intention to your third eye, which is here. And I will get music that is appropriate for the third eye, which is the upper chakras. I just realized something. The upper chakras are associated with galactic. They are not associated with the elements that are used in Chinese medicine, in Ayurveda, earth, water, whatever, earth, water, fire, air. There's a second type of air. One air is associated with planet Earth, and the other is like a galactic air, and it's called Akasha. And there's a zillion different definitions of what Akasha is. Doesn't matter. So what we're going to do here is we're going to address what's coming up in the sketches rather than me keeping an agenda that is no longer appropriate. Because when I started this a month and a half ago, there was no war, and the ascension process was a concept, and it's no longer a concept. So there's the mantra. And yes, they put stuff in our water and our food for us not to be able to see, but the truth of the matter is I've been doing this for a long time, and when people cannot see, it's because they don't want to see. There's something in their life that happened, or they had too many incarnations in which they saw a lot of really ugly things and they just can't take it. So they just shut down. Now, whose third eyes are the most open? Mothers. They love their kid. They want to know everything. I need to know everything to be able to make sure my kid is okay. Really high level executives, the really, really, really good ones, are very intuitive. So maybe this will help you in your position at work. So let's go ahead and start. Let's do 10 minutes and breathe into here. And just, if you have any interesting observations, you can put them in the chat. Let's see where we go with this. I learn so much when I have to figure things out to explain them to you. This is a sketch. These are other people. What was Jesus Christ trying to tell us here? What do I know that corresponds with this? In a Kundalini mental yoga program that I put together, the mantra for the third eye is, even though I'm afraid to be a master, I love and accept myself. And we're going to do that next. But I'm going to remind you, and I already told you a few minutes ago, the universe was almost thrown into the arms of darkness in Star Wars, which we are now replaying in real life now, because Darth Vader did not do his therapy having to do with the trauma of loss of mother. In my experience, many years, thousands of people, when people cannot see, their third eye is not what they call activated or open. It's because of traumas they don't want to remember and recycle. And the plague that we had a couple of years ago, and I hope this doesn't cost me my head, when we as a group checked it at an energetic level, the people that were getting it is because they had traumas having to do with their heart, the loss of someone. We checked the first person that got it, supposedly according to and it was they had lost a loved one. Emotions, emotions, emotions. Definition of the word emotion, move out. Are we taught to move out? No, 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 no. Hold it back. You got to be civilized. And then civilization goes kaput with catastrophes, which are fueled by repressed emotions of rage, not depression, rage. So let us go ahead and do the mantra that might get really interesting. We never know. And even though I'm afraid to be a master. And if you want, you can go ahead and start. Okay, let me write it. And this is for the third eye, because increasingly when I do these sketches, the emphasis on the third eye. By the way, in this sketch, ETs are mad. Should be accurate. See what you get. Remember, the mantra is, here we go. No, that's not it. No, this is it. You expel the breath through your mouth and send the words here. And just be gentle, but do it. And I'm going to sketch and see what happens with this new mantra. And here we go with the fear again. We have to address the fear. That is what stops us from creating what we want, some kind of a trauma. The remembering of the trauma, even if it's a subconscious level. Okay, let's do it. This is what I sketched a moment ago. This is what I sketched now. I think it says magnetic shift. Going back to the energy bodies, and we're trying to figure this out together, okay? Your spirit, get this out of there. Your spirit, your astral body, the gold body, is magnetic. That's the emotional body, the astral emotional body. When the magnetic pole of the planet shifts, it is taking that body and pulling it out of position of the assemblage of bodies. The assemblage of bodies are like the Russian dolls, okay? The second one is the etheric body, but the third one is the magnetic. And it's supposed to be nicely inside of this one and all the others. And they're all supposed to be facing the same direction, but the magnetic body is not. And before I knew as much as I know now, when I used to sketch the bodies, I always sketched the astral spirit body peeking out. And I thought it wasn't aligned because of emotions, but it wasn't aligned because the planet is not aligned in terms of magnetism with the physical planet. The magnetic north is moving, from what I understand. I'm hoping I'm not getting this all confused, because that's not the kind of scientist I am. The magnetic pole has moved dramatically away from the physical body of the planet. So our magnetic body, which is our spirit astral body of emotions, is not aligned with our physical. So when I was sketching the head in one of the bodies peeking out, I was sketching accurately. I just didn't understand it. I think something huge is happening like right now it's 7 something at night. And let's review what we sketched for today. Not like it's a class, but to kind of try and get a grip on things. When we came in, this is great. We haven't had this in any of these sketches ever. Great third eye, the mind streams, Nile green, the color they're supposed to be. Then a few minutes later, we had all these bubbles. Don't know what that means. But those bubbles, they're someplace. I'll figure it out. Then we went to a huge, just everything totally focused and concentrated in the third eye. And then more eyes. And the one previously, the ET is not happy with this. And then the next sketch, the third eye was wacko. No longer horizontal, but vertical. Strange position. And then the last thing is still off, not centered, the third eye. And the words magnetic shift. So I think that we're in a very good place having to do with our energies, the spiritual part of us, this 3 chakras at the top, that in the Star of David, which is the Merkaba, is represented by the triangle with the apex pointed down. I think that part of us seems to be doing really well. And that is what is going to lift us up off of the horrors that will happen if this little issue, not little issue, the issue with war and warring gets out of hand. I guess it's already out of hand. We don't even know what words to use. Are we in World War III? Not quite yet. But it's going to be kind of hard to stop that from happening, being that there's so many places of vulnerability. But what is important, which is spiritual, the spiritual aspect of us, which is the one that doesn't die in between incarnations, the one that will revive off planet. Okay, because the physical body, disposable. The spirit part of us, may the force be with you. Where are you going to reincarnate? What are you like on another planet? Because there's a part of you on another planet. That part of us seems to be doing really well. Now, I don't think that applies to everybody, but it certainly applies to the vibration of this particular group. And I'm not trying to say we're exclusive, but I think that if you're oriented towards what we're doing here, I think you're oriented towards the non-physical aspect of yourself. And spiritual does not mean good or bad. It just means non-physical. And you have to remember that, because a lot of, like, supposedly Rasputin, if the stories were correct, he was very spiritual and like not such a great guy. Once you have more information about magic, you can look at him and go, wow, he was giving the woman, the princess or the queen, whoever, miraculous healings. And of course, that would mean that they would be suspect of him. The fact that they couldn't kill him means he was a great magician and with a tremendous intention to stay alive. So I don't know how much we misinterpreted all of that, knowing what it is that I know and the way people have viewed things in this part of the world. So if there is no pole shift between today and tomorrow, we will be back here. I think you really need to pay attention to your third eye, find out what is not supposed to be in your toothpaste and in your foods that could damage your third eye, and then do some, you need to get back to the stuff that really holds back human development, which is unresolved traumas, which is not really the unresolved trauma, because whatever happened to you happened to you. It's your reaction to the trauma, your hatred that you weren't able to express, your fear. It's your emotional reaction that's the problem, not the trauma. So if you could give yourself permission to remember to draw up those things that could be holding back your development, not just spiritual, but in your bank account and everything, that would be a very good thing to do now. And then lots of emphasis on the third eye. Stop being afraid of everything that has to do with the third eye. Jesus Christ wearing that crown of thorns was a message to us, and it wasn't from the Roman judges. It was from Jesus Christ. It was a message. And they held back his mastery. And I guess one of the ways they did it was by holding back his third eye. I'm doing the best I can to explain things in the middle of the chaos, okay? So thank you for joining me, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow. Bye.